Hi, welcome to Open Door Yoga. My name is Michelle, and this is part 2 of my 3-part beginner yoga series. Now, as this class is designed for beginners like last time, you do not need any props. However, if during part 1 you found that stack of blankets and towels to be helpful, feel free to keep it nearby again for this practice today. Take your time, get set up, then let's get started. For today's practice, we're going to start in that same easy seat Sukhasana yoga pose as we did in part 1. If you missed part 1, no worries. All that means is we're crossing our legs at our shins and allowing our knees to hang heavy. Now this is where our stack of blankets or towels come in. If you're noticing that those knees are not hanging heavy or your spine is really rounded, this is where you could grab a small or large stack of pillows, blankets, towels, whatever you have available. Bring them under your sitting bones. So like we talked about last time, bringing your hips up just a bit higher than your knees can release some of that tension that is feeling stuck in that low back, outer hip area, and can allow you to settle into this seated posture and a lot of seated postures a little bit more comfortably. So take some adjustments, take some time to make adjustments and do what you need to feel comfortable. Maybe even shimmy, shake from side to side, ground down through both of your sitting bones evenly. Then we'll bring our hands to heart center and start with our intention for today's practice. Now, as promised, I have a new one for you guys today. However, if you really liked that intention yesterday, or of part 1, of being present, or if you have your own you'd like to try today, feel free to do so. If you'd like a suggestion for today's practice, let it be this. Listen to your body. A lot of times in studio yoga classes, or even in any type of group exercise class at a local gym, it's very easy to get caught up in just going through the motions. And we lose track of listening to what our body's telling us and what our body needs in any given moment. And that can lead to injury and all sorts of stuff. So today, let's listen. Take a full breath in, lock in that intention or the intention of your choice. And then exhale your hands down to a comfortable spot on your legs. From here, we're going to start listening by doing a quick body scan. And so I invite you to close down your gaze or maybe lower it down towards the earth. Sometimes that just helps to keep those thoughts and our present intention inward when we're not looking around and seeing everything that's happening around us, especially at home, because we know that our home settings can get a little chaotic sometimes. We're going to start our body scan at the earth. So feel all the points of your body that are in contact with the earth. And as we move up, we're going to notice the physical sensations, maybe sensations that are energetic or emotional, maybe mental. And instead of trying to change them or even view them with judgment, just notice. Just listen. See what we see. You can shift your focus to your feet, maybe up to your shins, your calves, your thighs, hamstrings, glutes, maybe up to your outer hips and your low back, your belly, your chest, your mid-back, your shoulders. Maybe pause here, sink those shoulders down away from your ears. Release any tension that you brought with you today. You can move your awareness to your arms, your hands, your neck, your cheeks, your chin, your jaw. Release any stiffness in your jaw. Allow your tongue to fall heavy away from the roof of your mouth. Go upward still towards our eyes, the space between our eyebrows, our forehead, the back of our head, and the top of our head. If you're noticing any thoughts spinning up there, maybe just pick out the ones that aren't serving you well in this practice and invite them to leave. Take one more full breath in and out. And then you can lift your gaze, flutter your eyes open, release your hands down to the side. And then on your next breath in, sweep your arms up and overhead. Gaze can lift if it's comfy in your neck. And exhale, hinge at your hips. So you can bring your hands down in front of you. You can fold deeper if you'd like. Or if hinging is not available in your body, no worries. It can be a lot. Bring your fingertips behind you. Press into them just to find a little bit of lift through that heart, and maybe you send that heart space forward just slightly. So take some time, settle in, and as your body adjusts, maybe you choose a different variation, maybe not. Take one more full breath in wherever you are, and out. On your next inhale, if you've hinged forward, slowly rise back up. And from here, we're going to make our way onto hands and knees. And so if you have a lift underneath of you, slide to one side, just enough to remove it. Keep it close if you'd like to bring that blanket under your knees. As you make your way onto those hands and those knees, move slowly. There's no rush today. Stack those wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hip points. Find a little engagement, integrity in that core by pulling your belly button in towards your spine. Almost like your shirt is on fire and you're trying to pull your stomach away from your shirt. Press away from the earth. Your toes could be tucked or untucked. We're going to start by stretching into our foot and our calf. Extend that right leg long, heel stacked over the toe mound. From here, we're going to rock. Press that heel back and then reach it forward. Alternate moving forward and backward. Pause in moments that feel like they need a little bit of extra time. Maybe take any extra little movements and wiggles that feel good in your body. Again, listening to what your body needs, because it might be different than my body or anybody else that's practicing with us here today. We're come to find stillness, and then with this same integrity in our core, without moving our upper body at all, lift that back leg, almost like someone's pulling you up by the heel and the hamstring. Building a little bit of heat, just a little today in our body. Press the sole of your foot back towards the back of the room. Reach the crown of your head forward. A nice long spine. One more full inhale. Exhale, release. Let's take it to the other side. First, start with that calf stretch. So keep the toe mound down on the earth and rock forward and backward. Again, pausing in places that feel good. Maybe check in with your arms. Sometimes we have a tendency, I know I do, to kind of hyperextend and lock into my arms when I'm not focused on them. Invite a gentle bend. We don't need any extra tension in our bodies today. We'll come back to stillness. And then find that lift. Again, long line of energy, opposition by pressing back and reaching the crown forward. Notice any little weight shifts that you're doing, especially if you're really starting to rock and lean towards the right. See if you can keep those hips level. You may notice that your core is working a smidge, or maybe more than a smidge, harder to do so. But you've got this. One more breath in. Exhale, release. From here, we're going to keep both of our toes tucked and make our way into downward facing dog. So really get grounded in your hands. Imagine like you're opening a jar. So we're really grounding into the thumb and index finger of our hand, and then sending our hips back, pulling our upper arm bones back into our shoulder sockets, and then gently finding a lift of our sitting bones, kind of like we're lifting our sitting bones up towards the space where the ceiling and the back wall meet. You can pedal out your feet, or feel free to just stay in stillness with a very generous knee bend. Relax any tension in your neck. Gazes just past those big toes. Take your time here. The goal of downward facing dog is axial extension, or finding a long spine. And so bend your knees as much as you need to feel that long spine in your body. Inhale, breathe into both side bodies. And then on your next breath out, slowly begin to walk your hands back towards your feet. Keep that really generous knee bend. And with that deep bend in your knees, tuck your chin, slowly rise one vertebra at a time to standing. You can rise over a few breaths. Make sure that your head is the last thing to lift. And then roll those shoulders back. Allow your fingertips to sink down towards the earth. We're going to find ourselves in Tadasana, or mountain pose. Now you can keep your feet underneath your hip points. If you'd like, you could also bring your toe mounds to touch and then V out your feet or your heels just slightly, about an inch or two. Shoulder blades reach down towards the hips. Crown of the head reaches up towards the sky. Weight centered between the big toe edge, pinky toe edge, and the center of your heel. Ground down so much so that it feels like your arches are lifting up off of the earth. Full breath in. Exhale, soften those knees and allow yourself to hinge at your hips, folding forward. Hands can come down to the earth. Maybe you bring your feet into a slightly wider stance, bind at your elbows, take a ragdoll pose by swaying from side to side. Listen to your body. The intention of this posture is to release your low back. So if you're feeling like your legs are locked and you're feeling a lot of sensation in your hamstrings, bend those knees. Bring that release to your back. Allow your chin to tuck slightly. You could shake your head from side to side to release any tension in your neck. And then from here, plant those hands, get your feet back under your hips. Send your thighs back. Inhale, rise to half lift. Hands can come to thighs, or if you're feeling a little flexible in those hamstrings, maybe your shins. Wherever is comfortable for you. Sensations between these shoulder blades as they keep sliding down towards your hips. Weight is over your arches, which might mean shifting forward or backward to find that balance. Full breath in. Exhale, soften those knees and fold. From here, plant your hands, bend your knees very generously, so much so that you can come back down to hands and knees, and then make your way back to seated. We're going to start doing a couple postures in the same pose that we started with, so Sukhasana, or easy seat. And now I'm going to invite you to switch it up a little bit. Most times when we sit cross-legged, we always sit the same way. So whichever leg you had crossed in front of you to start today's class, maybe choose the opposite leg this time. It might feel a little awkward. It might take a little bit of shimmying around to figure out the distance between your foot and your sitting bones that feels most comfortable for you. And it might take one or two more blankets. So take your time. Get settled in. Do that little shimmy shake from side to side to feel grounded. You could do a couple of shoulder rolls back, maybe even stretch out those wrists, because we did a little bit of weight bearing today into our hands and our wrists might be a little sore. As you get settled, release your fingertips down by your sides. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. And exhale, hinge to the right. Plant your right hand, reach up and over your left waist. Breathing into your left side body. Your gaze can stay neutral or maybe lift it up towards the sky, only if that feels good in your neck. Keep breathing into that left rib cage. And inhale, rise. And exhale, gently twist to the right. So left hand can come to the right knee, right hand comes behind. Instead of pulling with those arms, keep that twist coming from the strength of your core. Inhale, reach the crown of your head up towards the sky. Exhale, maybe twist a little deeper. Gaze can stay neutral, or maybe you send it back past your right shoulder. On your next breath in, unwind, come back to center. Exhale, get situated. Then we'll take it to the other side. Inhale, sweep those arms up and overhead. Maybe your gaze lifts. And exhale, hinge up and over to the left. Now, if you're noticing that as you're hinging, you're kind of rocking on your hips and your right sitting bone's popping up off the ground, just bring a little engagement by pulling that upper thigh bone back into your hip to help ground your sitting bone. That might mean coming out of the stretch a smidge. Inhale, rise. Exhale, gentle twist to the left. Notice that your shoulders are still stacked over your hips. There's still some openness in your chest. Gaze can stay neutral, or maybe we send it down and back, stretching into the right side of our neck and upper shoulder. Inhale, unwind back to center. From here, I invite you to end this practice in this restorative seated posture, but maybe going through one more body scan on your own. You can follow the same pattern or sequence that we did earlier, or maybe start from the head and work your way down. Take your time and remember to listen. We're never judging ourselves with harshness. We're just listening and learning and growing one practice at a time. Thank you for sharing this one with me. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste.